Today we're going to make a super simple salad for all the seafood lovers out there. Perfect for summer but gorgeous all year round. It's going to be seared squid with a simple salad of rocket and a little chili oil lemon. That's it. And it's all based on the freshness of the squid, and that's where it lives and dies. So get the best quality squid you can and you can't go wrong. I prefer to use whole squid that's been frozen at sea with everything in it, so we're going to have to clean all that up, but that makes such a difference because it's been snap frozen so quickly that when we defrost it, it's in perfect condition and it's super good value. And the great thing about getting squid when they're whole like this is you get to use the tentacles and also the little tail fins as well. Okay, so first thing, when you want to clean up squid, we want to put it in the sink, in a bowl, and just a little bit of running water, cold, make sure it's cold. And we're going to pull this up. And the first thing we're going to do is just take off this little tail here, and you just grab it firmly from here and you pull that away. Not for the light-hearted or the squeamish, but it'll be worth it once it's on the plate. Once that's off, we're going to literally pull the head and everything off. And again, if this is not your bag, get someone else in the family who likes a bit of goo. Pulling that out, and here are the tentacles, just like that. Just give it a little rinse. Cool, now we've got some water in there, we can just keep operating. There goes another head, here goes a tail. And the great thing about working in water like this, or with running water, is it just keeps that juice from the squid body just away from the flesh. Okay, now inside here, there is a little bit of cartilage. And what you've got to do is just put your finger in there. There's also some guts if that hasn't come out with the head. You're just going to turn this water back on. This low. Stick your finger right in there and wrap it around and grab out anything that's in there. And look at that. That's the little bit of cartilage that just holds the squid body in place. And apart from the beak, those are the only two solid parts of the squid. And they're both inedible, so they've got to come out. If you want to give the inside of the tube a rinse, just give it a rinse. And we're good. We've got some gorgeous fresh squid. What's left over of the squid, the waste, we'll just put that into our compost. Great for the garden. Okay, so here we go. We've got some gorgeous squid here. And because we've washed it nice and cleanly, even if the guts comes with it, there's not a lot of slime with it. Just give this a rinse, get rid of this extra liquid. You can use any kind of knife to just clean this up. If the tails are quite small, you can just leave them whole. Cut them in half if they're a little bit bigger. Just going to set a little bit of kitchen towel in here, and that's just going to soak up any extra moisture. Because when we go to cook the squid, we don't want a whole heap of water going into the pan with our hot oil. Now, to clean up the tentacles, see where the two eyes are on the top there? And you want to cut just in front of the eyes. Don't cut through the eyes or they're going to burst and you're going to get a nice little burst of goo on your board. And then you're going to pick this up, and at the back is the base of the beak. And you're going to flip this over, and with your finger, just pop it through, holding firmly, and that just pops the beak out. You grab the beak out, and then you're left with this gorgeous little set of tentacles. And I just cut those in half. Sometimes, if they're a little bit bigger, I might cut them in thirds. I've got some nice little tentacles here. Again, grab this, finger in behind, out comes a little beak, in half, bring that around, underneath, out comes the beak. Doesn't really matter how small you cut that down. And I'm just going to pop this back in the compost. This is the last of the waste. And now we're just going to come in underneath and just push your knife right through. Open this up. And if you find there's any sort of material in here, you can just scrape that off a little bit. And now we're just going to score it by laying down our knife nice and on an angle, fairly steep. And just give it a gentle crisscross pattern. And then we're just going to cut this in little pieces. Cool. Just bring that forward. Same in here, all the way to the end. Open that up. Okay, so it's only been a couple of minutes and we've taken our squid from whole squid into all this gorgeous meat. Look at that. And you can see why it's really nice to include the tentacles, partly because there's a lot of meat there as well as the tail. Nothing says fresh squid more than like the tentacles. And we're just going to clean this board up and we'll make the chili oil. So this is the simplest dressing you could possibly make. We just need a decent chili. Now this one, I know for those of you out there who know their chilies, this one's quite hot, so we won't use the whole one. I would normally use just some regular cayenne chilies, just the long thin red ones. So there's quite a bit of flesh there. Just gonna make a very fine little dice. Now we don't want the seeds in this. It's going to be hot enough as it is. The beauty in this dish is it's so simple. It all lives and dies by the freshness of that squid. Now I'm just going to chop this. Beautiful. I can smell that chili coming up. You're not looking for it to be a mush. It's just nice, fine little cubes of chili. We need a little bowl. Just going to put that in. In she goes. Okay, now we're going to get some lemons. 2 lemons, lovely and juicy. I love these lemons. They've got like little blemishes because they're organic lemons from Auntie Jude up north. So they're not sprayed, they're just straight off the tree. Full of juice. Wow, look at that. So much juice in there. And it's so juicy, I may not even need, I don't think I will, I just need 1.5. Normally, lemons are not this juicy. Because this is such a simple dressing, I'm going to use 60 ml of olive oil. And I'm just using good finishing olive oil. Just going to mix this in, so it's about sort of nearly 50-50. When you're using a good fresh olive oil like that, it's quite strong, it's quite peppery. Got some gorgeous lemon juice there. Going to get a wee touch of salt. We'll start with 2 pinches and we'll see what that's like. And I'll give this about 4 or 5 good cracks of pepper. Maybe 6. All right, just going to bring this up and look at that. That is fantastic. Yum. Nicely balanced between the olive oil and the lemon juice. And it's actually taken off the heat from that chili. I was expecting for that to be really fiery. It's got a nice fresh flavour. I can actually taste the chili. And now the heat's just starting to come through. Just nice and warm on my cheeks. That's our dressing. Now we can start cooking our squid. The secret with squid is to have a really nice hot pan. For 2 people, this is perfect. I can cover this with squid and that will cook that absolutely fine. We want to cook it hard and fast. I'll either use 2 pans at once or I'll do 2 batches. You're much better to do that and then your squid won't be tough, because if I try and put all the squid in one pan, it's going to kill the heat in the pan and then the liquid in the squid is going to come out and it's just going to stew in its own juices, and that's not what you want for seared squid. So I'm picking the biggest burner that I've got, just a wee bit of olive oil. I'm going to roll this oil around in the pan so it coats the whole lot. Got my tongs and half the squid. In she goes. I'm going to turn on the fan because it's going to get smoky. If I try to put all this in there at the same time, it's going to kill the heat in that pan. A bit of pepper, a bit of salt. I'm going to move this around. The other thing with squid is once you've got it in the pan, don't play around with it too much. Move it around until it's getting nice contact with that heat. Cook it as high as you possibly can. Don't flip it around and turn it around unnecessarily. We want it to get nice colour and cook it fast on one side. Just adding a little bit more oil. As it cooks, that first bit of oil gets absorbed up by the squid and also evaporates. So you need to come back and add a second amount of olive oil, just a little bit, to really keep that cooking happening. Now squid's turning nice and white, and look at that beautiful colour. We're going to turn that over. So that was about 2 minutes in the pan. I've just turned it over, 30 seconds to a minute, and we're all good to go. Now, I'm just going to put a little bit of rocket here. We want roughly about 50 grams per person. Here's my squid, it's ready to go. Putting it there. Sticking my pan back on the heat, and I'm going to give that another minute to heat back up, and I'm going to cook the second little batch. It's still quite hot, but it's losing temperature all the time. And we're just going to repeat what we did before. Nice and hot, there's a little bit of smoke there. The last of the squid's going to go in the pan. I'm just going to cut a lemon, just in case I really want a nice punch. Here's my squid, all finished. Look at that gorgeous squid. And as I said, a gorgeous little entree, just a few little pieces each. That's gorgeous. Plenty there, more for 3 more people. Now we've got this lovely chili dressing. Just going to spoon that over top. Gorgeous. How simple is that? Beautiful, fresh squid. It only took a few minutes to prepare from whole squid into gorgeous product. Simply seared off with a very light chili oil. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to get into it. That is just superb. A little bit of rocket. Just going to add a bit of extra lemon for punch. And there you have it. Seared squid. That is so good. I haven't even really shown you because I'm just getting straight into it. Perfect for summer, but great all year round. Get into it.